honor to host you all today. Like Ben said, just getting people in the same room that are like-minded and doing similar things. It is really an honor to network together and do this together. I was talking to Mr. Hunt, I believe, earlier, and we were talking a lot about networking and all the things that it takes to do what we're doing, and this is a huge part of it. But I just wanted to take a few minutes just to talk about who Juneberry is and where we've come from and what we're doing and what how we're learning. So first, a little bit about myself. I live over in Mount Gilead, about 20 minutes away with my family. I've got 5 kids, and we've been, I'm going to call it farmsteading, for probably 10 years. We've grown produce, and we've sold milk and meat and eggs and all the things. And currently we are in partnership with another farmer, and we're co-managing about 300 grazing acres. So we sell direct to consumer, beef, lamb, chicken, all the things. So that's a little bit about me. That's what I'm up to when I'm not at Juneberry. And so I started here about 5 years ago. I started part-time, and 3 years ago I started full-time as the Livestock Program Manager. So a little bit about Juneberry. For those that don't know, it was started by Miss Judy as a private estate. She needed a place to come shoot clays with her friends. And so she built the 5-stand first, I believe, and then the small house to come get away, and then the large house on the hill was built next. And so that's how Juneberry was born. It was basically an escape from the city for Miss Judy to come shoot 5-stand with her friends. She is definitely a pioneer. She's into sustainability, really loves, I'm going to call it like prepping, or was into, that kind of stuff. And so there's solar power, wind power, water systems, all the things that you can think of. And from that was born like growing your own food. And so they built the small greenhouse that is down the hill, and that's where a lot of the food that was grown for Miss Judy, that's where the production was at. And then from that, they transitioned into producing for the regional market. So they built this 1-acre greenhouse. We were growing predominantly lettuce and herbs for Harris Teeter. That was the main market that they had. But really discovered that system relied heavily on chemicals and inputs that they didn't really want to do. It wasn't really exciting to come to work and spray stuff and harvest the same thing every day. So sort of stepped away from that in 2020, and Juneberry developed into more of a hospitality and educational venue. So we've built a strong intern and apprenticeship program. I think this group here was, this past summer. We had a group of people out, and we were talking about some of our ecological outcome verification numbers in this picture. So that's been 5 years that we started that, and every year it's grown. So we have about 10 to 12 college interns that come through our program each summer, and then usually 2 to 4 high school interns or apprentices throughout the year. And that's grown ever since we started that. So this was some of the college interns we had this past summer, and this is probably one of the things that I'm most excited about is this educational or internship component. We had a lady, I think it was last year, who was actually vegan, and she decided to join the livestock team that summer to help, and she ended up actually slaughtering chickens with us, which was pretty cool to see that. She'd never done anything like that, but just from being a part of our team and raising the chickens, she wanted to go through the entire process. And so I don't think she actually ate it, but she did go through and help us with the slaughter. But this is a huge program. I think our entire company really enjoys this, just pouring into these young kids and being able to support them and go back to networking. It's like a continued partnership too. We're in communication with these kids as they go along in their careers. We also have hospitality events, weddings, and this is a concert series that we do every year. So also in 2020, we really switched over to more of a holistic approach to using the entire landscape, not just the 1 acre or 2 acres of greenhouse and market garden. So we started learning about regenerative agriculture and holistic management and the Savory Institute and all these things, and have really implemented animal movement throughout the entire 750 acres that Juneberry is. We have about maybe 400 acres that is usable land, like grazing, whether that's fields or browse, cut over type areas. So we're about 4 years strong into moving animals through the entire landscape. Our decision making is guided by the Savory Institute, Holistic Management. I'm sure some of you are aware of that. It's just it gives us a framework for making decisions, and with that comes a way to score our decision making. It's called ecological outcome verification, and annually we get someone out from the Savory Institute to come and help us go to about 20 different sites in the landscape, and there's at least 10 to 15 numerical scores that's given on that site. And that gives us a numerical number to tell us whether our decisions were good or bad from the last growing season. And we've seen a significant increase in that number over the past 3 years, but I'm expecting it to sort of plateau a bit, you know, because things require regeneration and then disturbance and rest and all those things. So anyway, that's been very helpful just to tell us if what we're doing is right or not. Like I said, we're predominantly doing this through moving animals through the landscape, and our main enterprise currently is sheep. Our land is mostly early successional plants, places that were recently logged out or cutovers, or fields that we've taken over the management, and we have a lot of early successional plants that we're trying to manage. And we're pretty spread out. Like, we have a large acreage, and all of our grazing areas are pretty spread out. So you can see here we're moving through the main gate. Sometimes we'll do a half a mile move or a mile move, you know, at a time, which can get exciting. Yeah. This is some cows that we custom grazed this past summer. I don't have any pictures, but we also have a laying hen flock. There's about 120 hens. And that's strictly for the kitchen, and we do some outside egg sales. Probably scaling that up to about 200 hens next year, just based on, you know, the sales we have here in the kitchen and a few outside sales. We also raise broilers in the summer, so that's about a 6 or 7 week or 7 month program where we're raising broilers out on pasture. This picture is of a cornfield or corn and bean rotation field that is 30 acres, and we bought that 3 years ago, I believe. I think we're 3 years into that. The first year we left it fallow. It was left in corn debris, corn stubble, and the next season we planted cereal rye, which is what this is. And this past year, we didn't do any planting. We just left it to come back naturally, just managing it with the sheep and the cows. So you can see in this picture, we've brought the sheep through, and this is right about lambing, I believe. And then maybe 3 months later, we brought the cattle through. That's where we were going to go today, and if anybody's interested, we can still ride out there and check it out. I know Ben said that wasn't going to happen, but if anyone is really interested, I'm willing to go out there. The one thing we've learned in that field is just managing animals is the need for trees. And so this winter we're going to go through, we have a tree spade on our skid steer and try to plant some nice oaks and hickories out in that field. The other project that we have done recently, this was about 20 acres of a cutover. It was logged about 10 years ago and not replanted, and we've gone in with our forestry mulcher and selectively taken out some of these trees. That's been a really fun project to be a part of. it's amazing to see the amount of grass and emergence that comes up in that once you open that up and bring animals in. I think this is just an overview. You can see on the left side was an area that we we cleared out last year, and the right side was what we did this year. And you can see the amount of grass and green growth that come in after mulching and bringing animals in. That's where our sheep, we're currently holding them there for a little bit and feeding some hay, trying to boost that land a little bit with hay. That's it. Any questions or anything? Thank you. Yeah.
This might be elementary, but you say you're planting cereal rye in that one field, and the sheep were grazing.
Mm-hmm.
Were they eating the rye or in between?
Both. Yeah, they did eat the rye. Yeah, they ate it until it reached a certain stage of maturity, for sure. This was probably about mid-March, if I had to guess.
Do you have certified organic acreage at all?
We don't. Our practices are organic, you know, on the land, but we're not certified in any way. Yeah, you can sort of see the stage of maturity there. That might be a little later than mid-March. That looks like probably, yeah. There was some of it we came through and grazed once and then came back through. Like we lightly grazed it and then a little more intense on the second round.
Do you have sheep and cows together in any places, or you have one leading the other and other?
Yeah, we've done a little bit of both. So we custom graze cows typically in the summer, and to start with, we had them separated. And then as the growing season progressed this past year, we combined them. And we really wanted to learn, like, can we manage sheep with one strand of polybraid? And for the most part, we did. We just gave them larger areas. And we were using the Pins Agro, I believe is the brand of automatic fence lifter. And so that really helped with chores and setup and all of that. Yeah.
It looks like, and that may be the way they're moved, I don't know, but there's a difference in color in that field. You can tell it's more lush on this side of the field than it is on that side. Is that where they're being moved, or what is that?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So I'm pretty sure this is either at lambing or close to lambing. And so we did have some feed, some grain in there with them, and we were holding them for longer times. So you can see where the shelters are or the feeder, where it's lighter. They were given about a half-acre block there for a day or 2 days or however long it lasted. And then we were just doing that through that 30 acres. We're giving them about a half-acre block.
Now, you said you're not certified, but you're organic practice, you're doing organic practices. What do you do for fertility on that field?
Nothing yet. Yeah. We have rolled out some hay, you know, and we're thinking through what next year could look like. I don't know if that's more cover cropping or what exactly we're going to do there. I don't know if it's just, you know, we say here that we're modeling nature, and nature's pace is patience. And we have that luxury. I know most farmers or a lot of farmers don't have that luxury for patience, but maybe that's the answer, is we don't do anything. I don't know yet. That's something we're still learning.
You said you're going to bring trees into this area. Are you bringing in for silvopasture, so the trees can also be like tree hay or fodder or whatever?
They will. Yeah, they will. Yeah, predominantly shade, but definitely fodder. You know, mostly hardwoods and nut trees. There's also been some talk about developing an orchard in this field, like a fruit orchard. So
is your intent to plant on contour and kind of maybe not create berms and swells, but space them out on
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Do you have an idea what your spacing plans to be right now?
I don't. Probably 80 feet, 100 feet, something like that. We may just start by planting along that road. That road was laid out on contour, and so that may be how we start next year, is just planting a few along the road. We did a trial in one of our fields 5 years ago with swales and berms and permaculture methods, and those require a lot of maintenance. Just all it takes is one time of a few cows walking through that area, and then you've got it. It blows out. So and it makes it difficult for moving animals. They don't make U-turns very easily, so you almost have to fence across those things to make the animal rotation work out.
Adam, what are you using for perimeter fencing on that field? Did you build a perimeter fence or did you just use poly netting?
Yeah, we put up a 6-strand electric perimeter, but we use the poly netting to move animals around, or to move sheep. We found that the sheep net from Premier works really well for sheep and chickens. Yeah.
Since you said you've been doing this for 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed the time that the animals, and you can break it down for species, but have you noticed that the time that the animals are on the certain sections, has it increased? Or stayed the same, or do you feel like they're getting more out of, have you changed the size of the area?
Mm.
Maybe hold them on there a little longer?
Yeah, in this field specifically, where we planted rye, we only planted half the field in rye as an experiment. And the section we planted in rye has come back really strong in warm season annuals, crabgrass, and a lot of other warm season, forbs out there. The other side is pretty sporadic. There's a lot of dog fennel, cocklebur, things like that coming up on the other side. And so that's probably the biggest thing I've seen. And I don't know if it was due to the rye cover crop or the way we've managed the sheep during that time. I don't know exactly what happened there to make that come back that way. There's definitely a bigger diversity, more grasses for sure coming into that area. We Yeah, from my experience, that's what happens. The first year we had sheep only, and we didn't have the forage ability to bring on cows. And so in the past 2 seasons, we've been able to bring on cows in the summertime due to what the sheep provided for us. That's definitely a thing. There was a place beside the state road, we put up a net and run sheep beside the state road, and then 2 months later it was green and lush on the side where the sheep were and brown and dead on the side that the sheep weren't, and that was in the side ditch of the road. So definitely something I've experienced personally.
Do we have any final questions for Adam?
I'll be around and we can go chat later. Mm-hmm. At certain stages, yeah, they do. Yeah. And we're probably going to bring on some goats next year to help with that. I've noticed at home my goats will eat the dog fennel when it's over mature. So just being flexible with what we have, and we did bush hog it just last week, so just trying to manage it the best we can.
Will the goats try to use a single strand of polywire, Adam?
No, no, not at all. That's why we don't have goats yet. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had a question.
Yeah.
About the ecological assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Could you expand a little bit more on that? Because farmers are always looking for some kind of foundation to stand on to say that, yes, what my decisions are doing are making an impact. And just like we know to take soil samples in March and April when the soils are warming up,
Mm-hmm.
and Mother Nature says you calve in the spring, is there a time to do that ecological assessment?
Yeah, we've chosen late July or late June and July to do that assessment. That's usually when you have the largest diversity of warm season and cool season together. And that's two of the tests is how many cool season plants do you see and how many warm season plants do you see. And then there's also a test of how vigorous are those plants. The one thing about this is it is sort of relative to who's examining the place, you know, and so like you may look at a plant different than I look at a plant based on like how vigorous it is or what it looks like. And so some of this is sort of relative, but I think over time we get some good averages if we have the same people doing the test every year. So.
And when you said cuckleburr, you rang a bell for me. I'll be on you, Dan, for that one later. Cuckleburrs and all the things that even Lisa can say, dog funnels, we used to hate them. And then ironweed comes and it's just a downward spiral. But if I can find something that says, okay, I'm moving in the right direction, or I need to pivot and make progress that way. We're all in it, right? We know that regenerative farming is more economical. It's more fun. It's going back to the traditional ways of working with the land. The point I wanted to bring back up, though, is it's in context, how you look at things. Gabe Brown said if you want to change things, change the way you see things.
Exactly.
And just our personal testimony from the board staying at the house down the hill is we had wasps in the house. Well, these were not aggressive, mean wasps like your guinea wasp, but as a regenerative farmer, you know that's one of the check marks that you get of, okay, we're doing something right because the Army's here to help us. The wasps are not here to attack us. They're here to attack the other insects. And so we knew we were on a regenerative farm when we found a few wasps here and there in the corners, and some of them were belly up. And so it's good to be on a regenerative farm, moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Adam.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Thank you for being.
Yeah.